My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave Dubois. And have you ever wondered how to break into the real estate investing game without breaking the bank? Well, today, my guests, Kata, Diana, and Errol from the House of Real Estate Investing, they have the answers that you've been searching for. And I'm super excited to hear what they've got going on, because I think access to information is everywhere. The right information is important. And sometimes you feel like you're on the other side of a paywall and you can't quite get the answers that you're looking for. So I'm excited to dive in. How you guys doing? Welcome to the show.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Yeah, no
thank
problem.
you. Hello.
Yes, thank you.
Let's frame it like this. How did you guys start this idea? What really inspired this thing? Because I'm sure you guys all are aware that it's easier not to do real estate coaching than it is to actually do the mentorship. So you have to have some sort of like passion for it, because otherwise it's really not the easiest. Everyone thinks it's easy. Go ahead and try. So what's the inspiration? What's the story behind this thing?
Sure. So I'll go ahead and jump in there. So, give you a little background about me is I grew up very middle income household. My dad was Air Force. My mom was a preschool teacher. Nobody did real estate investing. They always owned a home, but that was it. Just the one home, and then upgrade it, get a bigger home. They finally have it paid off, but years into the process of doing it. Right. And so I never knew the strategies. And luckily at some point in life, I came across, God put Errol in my life, and he taught me how to really become successful and have that passive income in real estate. And so I've been doing it now a little over 10 years, doing fix and flips, rentals, Airbnb. So I have a little mix of everything. And it really, one day I was online and one of the real estate classes popped up, and I was like, I'm going to see what this is about. So I paid my money, took this class, and then at the end they were like, give me $19,500. And I was shocked. I was like, what? If somebody has $19,000, why are they not putting this into real estate? And so that's when I called Errol, and I was like, Errol, we got to figure out a way to get this information to people where they can still afford it. And if they have money, still use that money to get into real estate. And that's kind of where the idea came from and where it started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, making sure that you've got money left over. Some people do. Some people, they look at 19,000 and they look at it like a franchise fee and they buy into the idea. But it's buyer beware,
Right.
the reasons that Rich Dad Poor Dad doesn't do the cross Canada tour, and there's a reason that Fortune Builders doesn't really do that anymore. They've got a different framework and things. And for the warranty of it, I think anyone can do it as long as they want to and actually do it. And the information, it's not new. Like, you can pick up a book from the 70s and it'll tell you that buy low, fix, sell high. But it's really that the delivery, I think, is important. And sometimes it's on the other side of a paywall. So you started with I guess, Errol, you've been teaching people for a while then?
Yeah. So I've been coaching people for a while as well, but at the same time, I've been helping people plan how to build a portfolio of real estate. So many people get into real estate with the mindset that, oh, I'm going to fix and flip, make 100K quickly there, or I do this, make more money. I think the primary purpose, what we're trying to achieve with this masterclass and with the House of Real Estate Investing, is change the mindset of people. The mindset of people in America, for middle income people like you and I, is getting out of the rat race. The rat race says living paycheck to paycheck, right? We need to get out of that mindset to see, how do we build wealth? Once the wealth is built, passive income will start flowing in, and then we have the luxuries to do whatever we want, like, send kids to college. We can take vacation. We can finally do a dream passion job or a passion hobby. So the point is to change the mindset. Most of these other classes they teach, they said, how do you become successful in real estate? And they absolutely do a wonderful job. We're not saying that, others are doing poorly than what we are doing. We're teaching the same thing, but at the same time, we're saying that's not the end goal. The end goal is not to make money. The end goal is to create wealth that creates passive income for you. And that's the mindset we need to go in. People take classes for wholesaling. Great, wonderful. You can make $5,000 to $20,000 on average in a wholesale deal, right? And then even with fix and flip, anywhere from 50 to 100 to maybe 200K, depending on the size of the house. But what do you do with that? Same concept goes with the celebrities and the sports stars, right? They make millions and millions in those 10 years of their peak. But what do they do with that money? So it's not about making the extra income. It's about creating wealth from the income you build, and that will set you straight for the rest of your life and for your future generations. That's how wealthy, that's the key between wealthy and being rich. And wealthy always stays wealthy. Rich becomes rich and then becomes poor.
Yeah, well, a lot of those athletes end up just investing in real estate. Like they just I was watching an interview the other day, Vanilla Ice, we all know.
Yeah.
He stockpiles property. If you didn't know that, he's a real estate investor because he realized, like a lot of people, that money and income is a treadmill, but wealth is something that you can attain and you can sit on. And I think you made a good point, is that's not a sexy sales pitch. Like, hey, you're going to be rich in 20 years. That's not, that's not probably going to get the butts in the seats. However, underneath it all, like real estate used properly is a wealth generation strategy. The saying, all wealth is either made or held in real estate. Because you'll see wholesalers, they'll go make all that money and then they'll have to go make it all again the next year because it easy come, easy go. So, Kata, how do you play into this whole thing?
So I was brought in through a group that I met Diana at, and I saw what Errol and Diana were doing with the House of REI. And I said, oh my gosh, this is really where I need to be. I need to be the person that goes and finds people that these, single moms and people that don't have tons and tons of money to start real estate investing, not only give them that hope that, oh my gosh, I can do this too. I may work a 9 to 5, but I don't have to do this for the rest of my life. Those are the kinds of people that we really, really want to speak to. And like Errol was saying, if you've got $30,000 in the bank, why are you not purchasing your first investment property? There's so many different strategies that you could be using to create this wealth so that you don't have to be working a 9 to 5 job. You do not have to live paycheck to paycheck. This is simply what we are taught to believe as a society. And we're really out to change that mindset and to make sure that people know that you can live a different lifestyle than just that 9 to 5 rat race. And I think that's what's so beautiful and what really made me want to come and work with Diana and Errol is that belief that, even I had the 9 to 5 belief, and now I'm like, I will never go back to a 9 to 5 ever again in my entire life. And it's just the best and most freeing feeling that I think anybody can ever feel.
Yeah. I mean, there's, I don't know about you guys, but through real estate, there's been some lows that I've been thinking like, oh, I should just maybe go get a job. But then like next week I'll do something and, move a property or find a property. And like that doubt, that seed of the security definitely does creep back in. So if you're listening at home and you're an investor and that thought is in your head, you're not alone. It does come and go. Anything worth doing is not easy. Anything easy is probably not worth doing. So what sort of obstacles have you guys had to overcome to take what you're doing now to where it is today? Let's go to Who's the dean of this thing?
Errol, I'll let you handle that one.
So just like anything, there's a lot of challenges. I've helped people for over a decade in building their real estate portfolio. And that's been more one-on-one, where they come in and I help them, coach them, and now they have multiple homes, a rental portfolio that they're creating passive income. The biggest problem that we were thinking is, how do you scale that effort that I have, and the passion I have, and we all have, but I'm just talking about me. How do we do that? There's only 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So what Diana and I thought is, instead of like focusing on Denver Metro where we are and teaching those people, and maybe we can change 100 people's life or 1,000 people's life, how do we scale it to nationwide? And that is the biggest challenge right now that we have, is we want to reach to an average household, middle income people, to tell them that building wealth is not a myth that many people think that it's only for the wealthy. It is not. I have done it. We have done it here on this team. And we want to show that it's achievable to every household. Now, who wants to participate? It's up to them, and who has a passion, drive. And like you said, you actually have to work it. You can learn from books, you can learn from Pathway to Financial Freedom, our masterclass, or 10 other masterclasses that are available online. But it's you, at the end, you have to put in the effort to do it. So to answer your question, I think the biggest challenge for us is, how do we take it to each household in America to at least bring this knowledge to them that's not taught in your high school or not taught in your college degrees, how to manage money, how to budget for it. So that's our biggest challenge right now we have. And we want to bring it in all 50 states where people can learn all these strategies, or at least get introduced to, and then they can pick and choose what works best for them, to their situation, to their passion, and what speaks the most to them, and they can practice real estate that way.
And I think too, just getting people to realize that they can do this, right? You don't have to have that master's degree to go out and do this. I mean, Errol is an immigrant to the United States. How long have you been here, Errol? When did you first come?
Sorry, yeah. So since 2001, so it's been 23 years.
So 23 years. So wasn't born and raised here. Now he has over 30 rental properties. He's done over 50 flips that I know of, and I'm sure there's other ones that I don't even know of. So I mean, he's been able to create this without even growing up here. And that's the thing, is getting that out there and that belief to people that they can do this.
Yeah. I can remember when I got started in real estate, I was standing in my brother's living room and it was all starting to click. And I just thought, like, you don't need any prior education to do this. You can literally just, whether it's a book, whether it's a webinar, whether it's YouTube, the information is there. I think the big thing for me is I had someone help me navigate the trajectory of my learning. I think that's really important, is that if I just went on YouTube and I started like learning about like how to do notes and partial notes, and I started going into multifamily or syndication and stuff like that, you can Google that. You can go on YouTube and start learning how to like syndicate multifamilies. Is that the most appropriate first stage in real estate? No. Is there easier things to do? Like, find a rental that's maybe not too beat up, and maybe you go and paint it on the weekends, and maybe it makes you some money, and maybe in 10 years it's doubled in value, and maybe you take that money out and you put it on your kids' education. Like, it's not as complicated as it needs to. So how does what you guys do help people navigate that path?
I think the big thing is the education's there, but also pointing to people that you can spend hours on hours on hours. So many people get stuck on just the education part. All they do is sit there and research. They never get out there and do it. So my big thing is once you have some of the basics and the knowledge, is get out there and start doing it, because that's where you're going to learn more. I mean, I've learned stuff out in the field flipping properties or with my rentals that I don't think I would have ever learned for a book, or even if it was in the book, that part wouldn't have stuck with me, right? Like I learn more by being out there and doing it. And that's where I think some people get caught up, is just on the education. We have the education there, but we always say, you know, take a class here and then go out and do it. Come back for more. But you got to get out there. That's the big thing, is you have to get out there, because that's where you're really going to learn.
Yeah, I remember on one interview, this guy said, analysis paralysis happens to all of us. So set a time limit. Say, I'm going to educate myself for 2 months. Then I'm going to do something. Because if you don't give yourself some sort of deadline or some sort of cutoff, you could end up becoming the most educated non-real estate investor.
Right.
Yes.
Like, like learns everything about every instrument on the planet, never plays an instrument. Like,
Yeah.
yes, there's some value in that, but you're right. You got to go out there. You got to make some mistakes. We're all going to make some mistakes. You got to win and then repeat those wins and try to progressively make less and less mistakes. So how do you guys help people navigate that process of learning and doing? How do you encourage them to actually do that? Because as someone who's coached people in the past, that can be the most challenging part, is like the fear of doing. I would always say, the students would rather like click around on MLS than ever call an agent and ask them about the property, shoot themselves in the foot instead of going to war. So what do you do to get people out there to take action on some of this information? Because information without action, you might as well just sit around reading the newspaper.
Right. No, that's a great question. And that's one of the main reasons why we felt there was a need for us to come into play. Because, when they ask for the tens of thousands of dollars after their masterclass, nothing's wrong with it. You absolutely have to pay for the education and learn from other people's experience. Like you said, there was somebody who guided you how you need to get into real estate and what should be the pathway. There's no question about it, but it has to be done reasonably, right? What's the point of learning and getting a $200,000 bachelor's degree where it's not even going to result in you getting a $50,000, $60,000 job in your first year, right?
Careful, don't tell that to the universities and the colleges.
Right, and that's what we're trying to get away from, that these big masterclass that ask for this big money at the end are those big universities that are going to charge you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what we're doing is, we have a passion to teach, but then the first thing is the master class, the Path to Financial Freedom, which talks about several strategies, and it gives you a little bit of taste of what you should be doing. And then you start comparing to yourself, like, oh, this matches my personality. This is what my present circumstances are. And where is my passion? So once you know that, then our next step, we tell them, is come back to our platform to learn that specific strategy a little bit more. So remember, so the 2 months time frame that you gave, you can certainly do that. So our class is only 4 days. But once you take that class, we have this different strategies class that you could take that are no longer than, 2 to 3 days or 4 to 8 hours, that are dive deep into that strategy. And then do invest. I'm not saying don't invest and just go out there and start knocking at people's door. You've got to have a pitch. You've got to have the right words. You're going to fail, but that's the whole purpose, that we have failed doing this multiple times. We want to teach you from our experiences so that at least you don't fail 8 out of 10 times. You're definitely going to fail. With me being so much into real estate, I still have the mistakes that I make today. And then I say, okay, for the next one I learned, and I'm not going to do it. There's not a perfect flip. There's not a perfect investment. There's not a perfect wholesale deal. So to answer your question, we do encourage and show them the step-by-step. And then there are some mentorship programs, but to Kata's point, we don't offer those mentorships that will charge you $10,000, $15,000. And yes, some people don't have the money, but they say, let's use your credit. Let's finance this class. No, why? Why put that burden on your debt, on your credit, that debt, that eventually we want you to have your credit fixed. We want you to have money saved so you can have a portfolio of 10, 15, 20 properties. We don't want you to just go flip a property and come back and be like, great, I made 100K. You know, it's sharing that entire wealth plan with you guys is the idea. So once we take them to that mentorship, which could be anywhere from $500 to $2,000, and they will hold your hand. Where yes, they pay you a little bit, but at the same time you can do JVs with them. You put in the effort, they will guide you, coach you. They'll make phone calls with you. They will tell you, oh, you know what? Maybe if this doesn't work out, let's do option B, C, D based on their experience. JV with your mentor. Share some profits with them. It's okay as long as you're making some money. Don't just work for free. And then, you know, in your third, fourth, fifth deal, you can become independent. And then you say, oh, great, I've done the wholesaling. Now, what's the next step? I know how to identify properties. Let's go and take classes how to do fix and flip. And you would have made more connections and networking, you know, with contractors and so on and so forth. Anyways, so you go flip, and then you say, you know what, out of these properties, I'm not going to flip. And we have calculators that help you determine which properties you should flip, which ones you should hold for long-term rentals. So we do help you analyze. So the long story short is our platform is designed for you to make the least amount of mistakes. It starts with the basic teaching, takes you to detailed teaching, to practical mentorship and actually doing it, and then providing other resources. Like there's like 8 or 9 calculators that talks about different evaluations. Then we have the contract templates that help you get into that. And it's not just this. So there's 3 parts to our business, which is the Path of Financial Freedom platform, which is their education, then resources. We have done the hard work of getting burned through hard money lenders, you know, title companies, contractors. So now we've kind of vetted them out. So we're providing those resources that not just the direction, but here are the tools for you to use. And then the third piece we'll talk later in a few minutes is the marketplace. We're super excited. It's going to be really neat. We'll come to we'll talk about the marketplace in a few minutes. But those are 3 main divisions of the platform that we're providing, where you could avoid making mistakes, learn, and implement what you've learned.
So one question that I really like to ask when I'm doing these interviews is the unfair advantage, and we'll just go around the table. So, you know, anyone feel free to go first. What comes easy to you that other people might find difficult to do?
I think for me, it would be the networking. So I could speak on networking, the proper way to network, because as we all know in real estate, you know, everyone's heard it. Your network is your net worth, period. If you do not have a network, you don't have a business. It's as simple as that. So, I mean, that's what I would bring to the table. I mean, I'm the one that goes out, you know, I network with people. I, you know, bring people in and say, wow, we could really work together. And I think the best word to use would be, you know, we're trying to create this ecosystem that contains everything that a real estate investor would need to be able to be successful in real estate investing without having as much stress as they would have if they didn't have somebody holding their hand if they wanted. Some people, like you said, can read a book and they can just go out and do it. I mean, they're a rare breed, but they do exist out there. You know, we want to make sure that this ecosystem feels like a great place for anybody to go to, no matter where you're coming from and no matter what your mindset is. Because it is important to change people's mindset. If you are a 9-to-5er, you're not going to have the same mindset as an entrepreneur does, but you can be an entrepreneur. It does take hard work. It takes for you to rewire your brain. And that's a big part of it as well, is we're helping people to realize their potential.
Diana, you want to go?
Sure. I mean, I think for me, maybe, you know, I'm a huge introvert. Like and I think this is a very extroverted world, but I've learned to play that extrovert. And I think that's been a strength of mine. as exhausting as it is, I can still play that part if I'm at an investor meeting or just out talking to real estate agents, whatever it may be, is I've really learned how to play that extroverted part as an introvert. So
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think for me, numbers come very easy. Calculating, budgeting, managing money. And I think that's the biggest challenge that, not biggest challenge, I should say, one of the bigger challenges, along with what Kata and Diana mentioned, is that how do I evaluate? I'm not confident in my calculation. I'm not confident, will this deal work? I'm not confident, am I going to be upside down at the end of this? And, the loss is real. It
Mhm.
is a real loss that can take people back, in their life,
10 years.
in the struggle of the life, right? I mean, they could be bankrupt if they don't do it right and don't calculate the right things, or have, calculate for the margin of error, or, the unseen things in fix and flip. I think that is a big challenge that comes easy to me, but challenge for others. So what we have done with this tour, like I was saying, the calculators help you be confident in evaluating each project, each deal. And then you say yes or no, because we have tried and tested them and they work. Like, for example, 70% rule of buying properties. I didn't create it. Diana didn't create it. Obviously, it's been there for decades and decades and people have been using it. But we have put a calculator that helps you type in the basic number, and you'll see if it works or doesn't work. It's as simple as that. It's a yay or nay at the end. It doesn't tell you a dollar amount. It does, but it's a yay or nay. Number one. Number two is our platform also helps with what Diana mentioned. I'm actually an introvert myself, but you have to be out there. But how do you, you feel comfortable talking to strangers? I don't. I go to a party and, my wife is a social butterfly. She talks to everyone and I'm sitting on one chair. The way we've designed this is all the people that are like-minded are going to be on this network, on our platform. So you've already known them. They have the same journey. They have the same struggles. So you just connect with them, and there's a lot of empathy with each other. So you don't have to knock and get your other, go to networking meetings, which paralyzes people, including myself. So we have it online over here in the e-commerce world where you connect and do business together. And, just like what Kata was saying, that the same thing, So anyways, we're trying to make this ecosystem where hopefully you would not have to go outside of here. If you need private money lenders, they're here. If you need gap funders, they're here. If you need hard money, private money, gap funding, all of them are going to be here, and so forth. Wholesalers are going to be here. You're going to have flippers going to be here. So basically, you're going to have, if you're going to get into wholesale, we will have the buyers here on this marketplace, which I was sharing with you before. And if you are the buyer, there are going to be sellers bringing the property here. You don't have to go and look, where do I find this property? I want to do fix and flip. Or, and then fix and flippers don't have to worry about end buyers, because we'll have investors. There are doctors, lawyers, and other wealthy professionals who have the money but don't have the time to find the properties, to fix them. And then we have the calculators that tells you, this is how much you're going to make money from short-term, long-term to mid-term rentals, and they invest their money, buy the property, and build a portfolio.
So what are you guys doing right now to really expand this this ecosystem to really reach the most amount of people?
Okay. Go ahead.
I guess I'll just say it really quickly. So we're on social media. That's how we're reaching out to people, which is Meta is our biggest one, social, which Facebook and Instagram. We're slowly getting into going towards Google's a little bit more towards YouTube, where people can see us during their, viewing or streaming, whatever they do. So we are trying to reach them through social media is our first step to grow. And then as we add more people, I believe we're going to be a chain link. So as more people come in, the stronger the chain gets, the bigger the chain link gets. and we'll be able to service our subscribers, our members even more.
Nice. So earlier, before I think before the call, Kata, you were talking about how you bring speakers to the platform, or that's one of your roles in the ecosystem. What is that like, and what should people look forward to in that regard?
Sure. So the types of people that I look for when I, have a meeting with someone, a potential instructor that I would bring on, or a potential private money lender, whoever that may be, we want to make sure that they align with our values. So we are very big on being go-givers. You've always heard of go-getters. Now, the thing is we all know very well, the more you give, the more you get. It's as simple as that. So that's the type of people that we look for. We're not out to find people that are like, yeah, I charge $20,000. Okay, cool. What do you offer? Well, I offer, do you hold their hand? Well, I teach them this information and there's a network. Okay, that's great. But do you hold their hand? And that's really what we're looking for, because there are some people that do not have that well, not necessarily the capability, but they want to have their hand held. They want to have that support from an ecosystem, and they don't want to spend, for example, like Errol said, they don't want to spend hours and even days. We all know, we're all real estate investors. You can be online for days trying to find a property or even to assign your property. We don't think it should be that way. The marketplace will offer all of that in one place, where it might take you maybe hours, probably not even that. And then for our instructors, we want people that are very passionate about teaching and want to see people truly succeed. There has to be a certain alignment that's there in order for an instructor to be a part of Thor. We're not just trying to build a generic platform that has just, random people that we've brought in. No, we are curating every single one of these instructors, every single one of these investors, every single one of these vetted, whoever they may be, contractors or private money lenders. That the list goes on and on, as you know. We're very, very careful with who we curate, because we just simply want to see people succeed. That is the passion. That's where Thor stems from. Is it's going to make us happy to see somebody post on the forum, oh my gosh, I got my first house, or oh my gosh, I got my first multifamily, whatever that looks like for somebody. That's how we know that we've done our job correctly, is when people succeed.
So is there anything that you guys feel I need to know that maybe I haven't asked you guys about?
Diana?
Maybe yes, no? Because it's a kind of this is a big, and I think ultimately, I think people are going to have to, reach out and connect with you guys. But while we're on the podcast here, as we're wrapping up, is there something maybe I missed that you feel needs to be said about what it is you guys are out here doing? Because education is important, the ecosystem important, vetting the people important, and getting results. I think that's the number one thing. So is there anything maybe that I haven't asked you guys yet that you feel is important?
I mean, the first
Errol
step
had
is
Errol had brought up the marketplace, so we might as well touch on that, which it's not launched yet, but it should be here soon. And a lot of like if you have a wholesale property, most people, what do? They get on Facebook and they're putting it on there. Hey, I have this property, 50 million groups, and then they have their list.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I send it out to the Wholesaling US Facebook group. And then I'm like, I'm all done. Now
No.
I wait for my deal to be
But
squashed.
and on the flip side of that, if you are looking to buy a wholesale property, I have spent hours and hours going through all those groups looking at properties, right? There's no good way to search them. There are a couple websites out there that are like, pay me $400 a month and we'll give you access to wholesale properties, kind of like a Zillow type.
Yep.
So we're trying to come up with a marketplace kind of like Zillow for off-market properties that you don't have to spend $400 a month to be a part of, right? If you're listing your property, you can just list them on there. As of right now, we're going to have it just be open for everybody to see them. back and
Mhm.
forth. So it hopefully will cut down on the time of searching for properties and as well as help you find buyers for your properties. So
Mhm. Yeah, the marketplace seems like an unfair advantage. So if people want to find out more about this, they want to connect with you guys, they want to, participate in this, get some education, what do they do? How do they find you?
Yeah, so for that, I mean, you can join our Facebook group, definitely, where there's a lot of information. We always have, if we have a masterclass, when we do our podcasts, whatever it may be that we do, we will always have that on there. And that way you can also become a part of the network, as well as we encourage anyone and everyone to join the forum. That's going to be your number one place to network, your number one place to connect with people. And of course, if you're brand new to real estate investing, the first step absolutely is going to be to take the master class. Because if you're brand new, you don't even know where you might fit in. I didn't know where I fit in. I thought I wanted to do one thing, and then I said, nope, that's not for me. And I'm discovering where I actually fit in. So taking that master class is a pivotal step in being able to determine what exactly that you want to do. So you're not wasting years under analysis paralysis, our favorite phrase, and trying to figure out where you actually fit in the real estate world. So definitely take the masterclass. Definitely check us out at thehouseofrei.com. And, you can always reach out on the forums. We're always on the forums. If anyone has any question, there's no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to real estate investing. It's guaranteed that if you put your question out there, 8,000 other people have already experienced that and somebody will answer your question.
and
So what's
the
the website?
Facebook page is the Pathway to Financial Freedom. So
Okay.
yeah.
And what's the website? The easiest way to go and find it is
thehouseofrei.com.
easy.
Got
All right,
it.
guys, I really appreciate you stopping by, and until next time, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.